So I'll be your lecturer today. And so I want to start with I'm going to start with these little prayers that I just repeat and repeat and repeat. It sometimes gets me in a certain vibe when I'm in different places. And this one is called the I Am Affirmations. And it says, I am that I am. I am alive forevermore. I am abundant, celestial life everywhere made manifest. I am Alpha and Omega, the first and the last. I am eternal youth and beauty. I am God, the one without a second. I am here and I am there. I am limitless, omnipresent, substance bringing everything into form. I am perfect sight and hearing. I am the active presence of God, the source of all life and intelligence. I am the ascension in the light. I am the bread of life. I am the eternal, transcendent, electronic body of ascended master light. I am the good shepherd, giving life to all. I am the guardian presence. I am the healing presence. I am the illimitable light of God everywhere made manifest. I am the kingdom. I am the power. I am the glory of love conquering all. And I can share that with you later if you would like. And so, a couple of things I want to try to touch on today, whether I get to them or not. It's another story. And so this, I talked about this before. I probably will be forever talking about this. This is a book called The 12 Layers of DNA. Anybody heard about this before? No? Cool. New stuff for you. Sometimes I feel I'm saying the same thing over and over and over, so if you don't hear about it, cool. Have you ever heard of Cryon? Okay, cool. So I don't have to go that far back. So this is basically a book report, right? I'm going through this book now for the second time. So this is just a book report, my opinion of what I feel when I read this. There's lots of stuff between the lines. So I'm going to try to touch on that one. But the first thing I want to talk about is being present, right? Did some work with Eckhart Tolle, and that was one of the things that really struck me the first time. Like, are you in the present, or are you in the past, or are you in the future? Right? Are you in the present? Because a lot of the times, all the time, you can't make changes in the past, and you can't make changes in the future. And so most of us are usually in the past, right? And a lot of us are in the future, where you can't make any changes. We're living over there, and we're here trying to do stuff, and it never works. It'll never work. It can't work. And so to make your changes, you have to make your changes in the present moment. And you got to be present, right? There's something that, as I'm talking to you, there's something back here that's somewhat listening, watching. Right, there's this, we call it soul, God, whatever. There's something back there that transcends what you hear, you see, you feel, you taste, you smell. Something back there. And so, to me, that's the presence. Everybody has it. But we're hardly ever in contact with it. Right? Because we're always thinking about the past or the future. And so, all right, so we have just a little demonstration, all right? We have 5 fingers. Okay, I can look at them. I can feel them and stuff. Okay, so those are fingers. Those are something physical, right? So if you close your eyes and keep your fingers open, can you feel your fingers? I'm not talking about, I saw it just now, so I know it's there. Do I feel it? Something is there. Something is alive. There's blood running through there. Do you feel that essence of something that's there that's a little bit higher than something physical? Most people will close their eyes and say, okay, yeah, I just closed my eyes, so, oh yeah, I still got my fingers, they're still there. But this is how you start finding who you really are. When you get to this little subtle place, right, where there's just this energy day. Well, you can open your eyes, and so this is something that you need to somewhat practice. Because again, we're always in the future. It's like, yeah, my finger was there, it hurts. That's something in the past, right? Because you have the moment, and then you have another moment. They go by fast. So when you start thinking of something, pretty much, it's already gone by. But there's something that's always there that's in the back that sits and watches, and in my case, it knows and it tells me and it guides my hands in healing, and at some point in the lectures it takes over. I let it take over. It doesn't come and jump in. I just say, okay, I'm ready. And then stuff comes out that suits all of us. So there's this present. You got to be in the present moment. Because if you want to make any change to anything, you got to do it right now. Right now. Right now. So it's always changing every moment. And so the reason that you are sitting where you're sitting is because you said, I said, hey, I'm Cledston again. I'm Cledston again. I'm Cledston again. And if I decided to be something else and believe it, then I would be that in the moment. So we all got to do stuff in the moment, right? We're all in our heads about trauma is one of the deals. So I had trauma that happened when I was a teenager, 10 years ago. Right? And so the trauma is in the past, but I still think about it. So in those cases, I'm living in the past. And as I'm living in the past in my head, I'm bringing that information to the present moment. And then things happen whether I want them to do or not, just because the energy, I bring it back. So you got to deal with all this trauma. But if you're present, you got to be present, then at some level you'll realize that all that stuff really didn't matter. Right? This is the moment right now. I want to be good. I want to be better. I want to be joyful. You got to... You can't want these things, right? Because you keep saying, I want a boyfriend, I want a car, I want to be joyful. You will forever get, I want to be, I want to be, I want to be. Again, the universe is a big copy machine. Whatever you give it, it gives back. So that's why people say, how come I find a man? You keep saying that, and you're going to keep looking. So you're on a forever search. Right? So if you want to be healthy, you got to be healthy right now. You got to not think about, and this is getting used to, not think about your little aches and pains. Right? Almost you have to somewhat rise out of your body a little bit. Where you don't have a physical body, so you don't have physical pains. So you have to just rise above this thing. Know that, there's something that I am that's greater than all this right here. And so once you get into that vibration, then you start attracting more of that kind of stuff. And then your life changes. Right? I talk to people, I was like, they're like, I don't feel good today. How do I get out of this place where I am? And again, so you're in the past. And so how do you get out of that place? And so what I do is, and this is what I do, I don't get there a lot anymore into the negative places, but if I don't feel so good, I go to a place where I did feel good. I do feel good. And so I go to the beach a lot, right? Sometimes we just sit and we listen to the ocean. They're rushing in and out, right? And so I go to those places, and so I pull that energy in. If you have to go back in the past and pull something, why don't you pull that? Why don't you pull somewhere you had fun and you just want to get that feeling, like woo, that giddy feeling, like, and then you're attracting stuff right now. And that's how you get out of the doldrums. You ever hear fake it till you make it? That's why you do it. Because if you want to be happy, you just got to be happy. You can't want to be happy. You either are or you're not. You just got to be happy. And then and then everything around you will change, or will change to you, because you're in a different mode. You're in a positive place. And so it's very important that then you know what the present is, or what your presence is, versus these other places that we go. And I'm saying don't go there, but I'm saying if you should have to go there, you better have, it's best to do something positive. It's best to fake something positive, just so your energy pattern is that. Right? I'm not saying you don't have to feel not joyous. I'm just saying this is how the universe works. It'll give you whatever you want. They say, ask and it is given. And I say, ask and it is given immediately. But we don't even recognize it, that it's given. It's automated. It's a universal law. Whatever your energy is, the universe is going to reciprocate. So you got to work in the present moment. You got to play with that moment. You got to learn to do that. And then once you feel this presence, it's not overwhelming, but sometimes it makes me feel little. Because this thing is sometimes there's no name for it. There's no color. There's no shapes to it. It's not male, female. It's just, and people say it's just love, and you fall into it. It's hard to explain. You got to feel it for yourself almost. We used to say, he who feels it knows it. I feel it, so I know it. And I can talk all day, but until you feel it, you really don't know it. It's kind of like a theory. So that's why you got to practice. You got to practice, and then once you find that presence, and then you have a decision to make, then you just take a deep breath, realize that presence is with you all the time, and then you make your decisions. Versus making your own decision because you're reacting to something somebody said to you, which is almost always not the best answer or the best reaction. Usually it's negative. Somebody call you something, you're reacting, you want to call them something back. Even if you don't call them something back, you're thinking you want to call them something, same deal, same energy. So from that presence, that all-encompassing presence, then you make your decisions or you ask your questions, and then things happen. And it's not magic. It's just what you give out, you get back. There's no doubt about it. What you give out, you get back. Right? I mentioned this the last time. I mentioned this before. I don't know if the last time or not. The virus that hit the computers in Europe, right? And so guess who sent that over there? So the story is, we built a virus. Programmers in the United States of America built a virus. You couldn't program it to do certain things, and then that was sent to mess with the chemical program in Iran. So when they start up their nuclear things, stuff would happen. They don't know what's happening. So virus. And so at some level they found that, code, we call it code, and manipulate it and then send it back. So if that doesn't prove what goes around comes around, I don't know what will happen. What will we have to do to ourselves so that we know it? Right? What will the government have, realize, oh, we did that, it happened to us, let's not do that again. How many times will that happen? Right? In certain societies, it doesn't happen because they know it's going to come back sooner or later. If you think it doesn't come back, then that's why we are where we are. That's not my brother, so I can do anything over there. But when that becomes my brother, I will never do that. Right? I was in the service and I had friends that were stationed in Killeen, and they would go over and fight. And then it was like, wow, suppose we shoot our stuff and it kills them. I got out shortly after that. I was like, okay, this is really not what I feel now. When I first signed up, it was and really, to tell you the truth, I know my friend is going to go nuts. The service to me was just a job, really. I didn't go in saying, I'm going to protect my country and do that. That wasn't, for me, that wasn't what it was. I wanted to get out the house, be on my own, get paid, and travel. That was it. That was even the little advertisement. Hey, come on in. You'll pay for your school and stuff. Right? But once I figured out what the real game was, then it didn't really match what I was doing. Right? I'm a lover, not a fighter, pretty much what it was. And then once I realized that, they told us we were fighting for one thing, and then when I found out we're fighting for something else. Right? We were fighting to get control of the oil versus trying to free somebody. And it's like, oh, so I see what the game is. I'm cool with it. I'm out. Right? And so all this stuff built up in me, and so I'm here now because you want to help people. You want to help everybody. I want to help everybody. Right? And now I'm to the point where, you know what, really? I just want to help myself. Because I can't really help anybody else. I can help myself. And the more I help myself, I'm realizing the more I help everybody else. By default, I'm helping everybody else. Right? So right now, I'm changing my thinking as I am thinking 500 years ahead. What will my sons, kids, what will they be looking forward to? Right? And if I'm doing that, then I'm doing that for every single person, and in my case, every single animal. That's what I'm doing. If we did that, even in the government, in political circles, if we cared about people, we would have laws that would overstretch any political party. If we're for the people, we would have something that says this is harming people, we'll never do it. And it will be a long-term plan, not 4 years we're going to change it, next 4 years we're going to fight to change it. That tells me that you are, for you, politician, not for the people. If you were for the people, what you lay out would be for every single person, no matter where you are. Right? And so that tells me that they don't have they don't know about this presence. Right? So to me, that's ego. Right? So ego runs them, whereas for us in our little circle, we run it. It brings us information, and we just like, okay, yeah, I can deal with that. Okay, no. Because your ego wants to know everything. I know everything. And as soon as you say I know everything, guess what? You can't learn anything else. As soon as you say I know, then nothing new can come in. And so that's the game they play. this happened to me lately, and I know what I know, and what I don't know, I don't know. And then, if I don't know, then the possibility opens that there's many, 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 many things that I can learn, right? But people just say, I know, or I believe, and then, it's like, I got a problem with this God thing too, if I can jump out the box real quick. Because, people just come and tell you, yeah, God said this, and God said that, and then I have a question, who is that? Right? Who is God? Is it a he, a she? Is it an it? Does he live over there? Does he live up there? Does he live in here? Explain to me. Don't just drop this ready-made answer on me. Not having it anymore. That's why I don't go certain places, because if you go ask a question, here's the book, here's the answer. You know what I mean? No, life is fluid. And so your information should be fluid. Nothing is static. Information is fluid. So that's one of the first things you got to figure out. What's God? What does that mean to me? What does that mean to me? Everything in your whole life, pretty much, 99% of the time, is based off of that. What will happen when I cross over? Will God see me doing this thing I'm doing right now? Is all your stuff based on that? Most of the time it is. I do things because this will happen, and then, I get punished, or I'll go to hell, or we know there's no such thing really. But that's one of the points you got to figure out. What is this God thing I'm talking about? For us in this spiritualist camp, what is spirit? What is it? What is all that is? What is source? We got to figure out what that is first. And then, because people say, well, I don't know what I want to be. Well, what do you want to be? I don't know. I don't know. So you're driving a car. I don't know where I'm going, but I'm going to get there sooner or later. You don't know where you're going. First off, you got to find out where you're going. Where do you want to go? You're piloting your own bus of your whole life. You're the driver. Jesus isn't driving. God isn't driving. The devil isn't driving. You're driving your bus. And you have to decide where you want to go. And there are people that get on and people that get off, and people that come on with vibes you don't like, and you need to, you're not on my bus. You're driving it. Nothing is really happening to you, right? Spirit is sitting there waiting, and you're driving, and it comes down. You go left, and it goes left with you. You go right, it goes right with you. You run over somebody, it goes with you. You're driving it. Totally up to you, right? Nobody's coming to save you. It sounds familiar again. Nobody's coming to save you. Every movie you watch, somebody comes and saves you. Somebody comes and saves you. So they're prepping you for something. But nobody's going to come and save you. They want, I can't save you. In my position right now, I can't save you. I'll never tell you that. You got to save yourself. And all this little presence and this God thing, all that will help you save yourself. Because people think things are happening to them. You're more complicated, more complex than you ever imagine. My mind is blown, every 2 weeks or so I hear this teacher say stuff. It's like, you're more complex than you ever imagine. And I've done this before. This, if you hold, and we do this when we're doing healing, you put your hands open to receive. This does something to your body and your breathing. And so does this. Do you know that? So when you're in meditation, start, you can do some little deep breathing on your own time. And if you have your hands upwards, you'll realize that your breathing is this from here up. And if you hold your hands down, your breathing is from here up, from here. And so these little things with your body makes changes. Just these little subtle things. Right? And we feel sorry for the people in the Philippines. This is how they call people. Right? So can you imagine? It's that easy, but we don't think it's so easy. And so the body does all kinds of things. Right? That's just one of the things. Right? So you have a complicated, complex organism. Wow. A body, a machine that you don't hardly know anything about. And so DNA, so you're going to have to do some research with this information, because I'm not going to get too much of it. I'll give you an outline. And so this is good stuff. If you want to know how you work, how does my body work? Somebody talked about chakras last time. And sometimes to me, chakras almost equate to dimensions or layers. Right? And I can sit here and talk to you about DNA, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, but it doesn't really work that way. They all work together. Right? The soup, we call it. But to explain it and us understand it, we got to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And that's how we explain it. But it really doesn't work that way. You have soup, how are you going to separate it? But you mix all the ingredients in it, but you can't separate the soup. And so that's what this quantum theory is about. It's the whole soup. But we got to break it down to explain it. And so this one opened my eyes to a couple of things. And I like this information because I've been reading this stuff for 20 years, all my life. And so I read a little piece of this here. So DNA is our chemical blueprint. But the Human Genome Project found that over 90% of it is not coded. And they say 90% of your DNA is not coded. Or is that 90%? I don't know what the hell it is. 90%, they don't know what it is. Because they're not looking from a spiritual point of view. They've got it under a microscope trying to figure out what it is. And so what do they call it? Junk DNA. Because what? I don't know what it is. It does nothing. But from a spiritual point of view, it does everything. So you want to know how what do you do? What am I? What am I here for? In fact, approximately 4% creates the 23,000 genes in the human body. 4%. Only 4%, right? And so they are 3 billion. 3 billion. Come to me. There are 3 billion parts in your DNA. 3 billion parts. It's a lot of it. It's a lot of it. 4%, they know what it is. And so a lot of it, they don't know what it is. Right? And then on some level, they don't want to tell you what it is either. And they're broken into groups. And you'll notice that, and this is what came to me too. They're broken into groups. The first 3, 1, 2, 3. The other 3, next 3, next 3. The first 3, 1, 2, 3. That's 3 and 2 is 5 and 1 is 6. That equals 6. 4, 5, 6. 6 is 4 is 10, 5, 15. 5 and 1 equals 6. 7, 8, 9. 9, 8, 17. And count it out for me. Equals 6. So what does that mean? 666. Does that sound familiar? It's the mark of the beast. No, that is how your DNA is coded. And if I tell you that it's the beast, what will happen? You won't look at it. Oh, that's the beast. I'll never look at it. Because they don't want you to know your greatness that is embedded in you and was there forever for everybody to work with. The last 3 numbers, 12, 11, 10 equals 33. Does that sound familiar? It's a master number, so you don't break it down. That number, first guy that comes up, Jesus, 33. That's the highest level in the Masons, 33. So there's importance there again. So they don't want you to learn this stuff. Why? Because then you're going to be your own person. You won't be dependent on the system and all these things. You will be able to heal yourself. Why would the healthcare system tell you that? That you can heal yourself, right? That you can provide whatever. When you were born with everything that you will ever need to be great and successful. You are born with it because you were born with this code in your DNA that has all the answers for you, right? And also these layers or these groups are also associated with certain planets, right? Lemurian group. Oh, there are some from, so Osiris, Sirius, the star system. So that's why I want you to go and start reading up on this stuff, right? Because it'll actually tell you, they call it the God Code now. As the book comes out, I think David will call it the God Code. No, that's a different guy. What is that name? Look that one up, the God Code. And so they're finding in your DNA, one of the strands, you have all this information. A few strands have to do with your Akashic record and all you've ever done or will be, ever was. So in your body right now is all the information about everything. And when I say everything, I mean everything. Not just you, but your parents, your grandparents, your great-grandparents. In your DNA, which is continuous, you have information to Neanderthal, all the way back to when this humanoid was created. All in your DNA. And then from one piece of your DNA, you can rebuild you. Because each piece in its entirety has everything. And so that's why they say talk to your DNA. That's why you can talk to you did the little, do I have, my fingers, feel it. And then what you do that with your whole body. Can I feel my fingers? Can I feel them if I don't see them? And then you start connecting with all this information. And then you tell your DNA is waiting there. And you tell it, I'm going to heal myself. And it will do that. And they'll tell your DNA has magnetic coils. And so this thing is called inductance. Once the coils get closer together, they swap information. And so you can tell one part, you're healthy, and all the other ones will know immediately. So you got to look at your DNA closer. Please. If you want to talk about healing yourself, that's where you're going to have to start. What do I do? How can I fix me? If you want to be a healer, start with yourself. How can I fix me? And then these things just, this comes out of nowhere. No, you ask, and there it is. It was there waiting, but you weren't oblivious to it because that was not your mindset. And so DNA is very important. And people say, well, there's seven layers of DNA, or there's 12, or there's 144. It doesn't matter. What do you want to know? Again, we always say don't feed steak to a baby. You got to give them a little bit of time before you say, hey, you're God, here you go. Right? So it's important to get in touch and learn more about your DNA. It's vital to you if you want to help yourself and then help others. And as you're helping yourself, understand you're helping your past lives, and you're working on karma for your whole family group. Again, you're very complicated, but you got to take a little bit at a time. And so I suggest we can even have a class on this if you want, that we can get more in depth into it. There's Hebrew names that goes with every layer. And so what does that tell you? Jesus used to think about Hebrew. He used to speak that. all that stuff. I don't ever hear that in the Bible, really. So if I want to talk about Jesus, then I want to go back to see what he was doing. What was he talking about? Hey, let me get some of that. And so that's what I started finding out about all this stuff. So again, Jesus is not somebody who was like, boo! No, he came out of a woman and had all this information. So his DNA was running at 100%. Ours is at 30. So we can't do the things he can do because we're not vibed up yet. So it's not magic that he could do those things. He knew natural law, and that's how that worked. Okay? I ran my mouth too much. Do you have any questions right off the bat that comes to mind while I'm all junked up with energy?
What's the name of the book one more time? What's the name of the book?
The book is called 12 Layers of DNA. And it's by Cryon. And Lee Carroll, he's the channel. I got him to he signed all my books too. And it's like, I went to the conference and he signed like 4. I went back. Later I brought 4 more. He was like, whoa, I got them all. And what I like about this series is I started reading this stuff and studying this stuff 20 years ago or more. And then some of the stuff in the first book happened. Because they predicted 9/11, they didn't come out and say it. After the fact, we went back and it's like, and so that's why I like the information, because it's on point. If I go back and read it again, I'm not lost in it. And then when I go back and read it, I'm a different person now. When I first read the book, I read it and I loved it. And I went back and it's like, did I read this the first time? So you're a different person once you read it. And this is for any book. And then once you go back and reread it, you're grown, you're different, you learn more things. And so the information is almost like multi-dimensional. It's multi-dimensional, just like water, right? Ice, water, steam, that's multi-dimensional. So water exists multi-dimensionally. And so guess what? What are you made of? Water. So what? You're a multi-dimensional, but you don't even think about it that way. But you are. And so I'm going to stop for now and I'll let you digest that. And we can talk about it a little bit later if you like. Thank you for listening to me.